We would like to acknowledge the Yuggera people and the Turrbal people as the traditional custodians of Meanjin, the lands on which we record this podcast today. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. Welcome to another episode of For the Health of It, a podcast made for healthcare professionals by a nurse on the inside. So my name is Jess Tully and I'm actually the Brand Ambassador of Healthcare Australia and a registered nurse myself. Today we've got a really special episode. I have been trying to plan this episode for weeks and weeks because this woman is very hard to get a hold of. I am interviewing Kylie Ward today, who is the CEO of the ACN. So the ACN is the Australian College of Nursing, and I've actually not only been able to hear Kylie speak at these events that they actually produce nationally, but I've been able to meet her as well. And she just lights up the room when she walks into a room. She's extremely passionate about everything to do with nursing, which is why I just admire her so much because I'm so obsessed with nursing and this lady is on par with me for sure. So welcome to the episode, Kylie Ward.
Oh, Jess, that's beautiful. I'm blushing. Thank you.
Well, everything I said is true. You are an absolute inspiration and you do completely light up the room every time you walk in. I've seen you at the National Nursing Roadshow here in Brisbane last year, and then also the National Nursing Forum as well, which is the 3-day event that was in Darwin last year. So I've seen you in action and it's very inspirational. I would love for you to just run us through what the ACN is, because people listening to this podcast might be a little bit familiar with what the ACN is or maybe not so familiar. So I would love if you could just run through what is the ACN?
Yeah, thank you so much. And right back at you for a passionate, inspirational woman. The Australian College of Nursing is the peak professional body for the nursing profession in Australia. We're the member of the International Council of Nursing in collaboration with the ANMF. And most importantly for me, we are a college. So when I took the position on as CEO almost 8 years ago, I was very proud to know that Australia has a college. We are a higher education provider, the equivalent of universities. We're an RTO and we provide clinical professional development for really mainly postgraduate nurses. Sometimes we offer opportunities for undergraduate, but we work in that postgraduate space. And there's multiple arms to the business. So apart from being the college and the provider of education and resources for nurses, we have a member base. We have corporate and individual membership, and we represent over 150,000 nurses in Australia and some overseas. And so membership's very important to me and us, and through that you get post-nominals. It's one of the only ways to be able to be recognised by your peers through fellowship or distinguished life fellowship. And we do a lot in the space of advocacy and policy leadership and scholarships. We administer millions and millions of scholarships on behalf of governments. And Jess, in my time, I've also gone on to develop the Australian College of Nursing Foundation, which is an organisation and charity in and of itself. And last year we launched the National Nursing Archives because I felt that Australia needed to have archives dedicated to nursing history and the nursing profession, and that there was an organisation that would be the guardian of our history, past, present and going forward.
You have been very busy over the last 8 years by the sounds of it. Absolutely had your hands full. 150,000. That is a huge amount of members. I've known about the ACN for years. I've been nursing for 10 years now, and I know I've seen your courses and I've been involved in your conferences and roadshows, and I love every single one of them. You always walk out feeling like you've learned something new or you've contributed or I've just been inspired. And I love everything about it because it's nursing is very team orientated and we all work together. We're like packs and we all want what's best for our patients, of course, but also ourselves and our career going forward. So you being the face of the company, you're absolutely perfect for being the CEO of the ACN. Like, as I said, when you walk into the room, it's just, you know what you're talking about, and it's so incredible to watch you do your thing. So thank you so much for coming on here today.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. And, you know, I'm like you, I'm a very proud nurse as well. And, you know, for many of us, there's so many things that we could have done, could do, but to dedicate our lives to this industry and this profession is something that's morally I'm very driven to do. And I love our people and who it represents, but especially those that are attracted to the college, because we're not industrial, we're professional. And so the type of people that are members or attend our events, it's like attracts like. We're wanting the best professionally. We're wanting our professional practice standards to be of the highest calibre. We're wanting patients and communities to understand the best that nursing has to offer. And well, for me personally, I absolutely feel that we need to be recognised alongside our peers as an equal at the table and have our voice and our opinion sought.
Perfect. Well, you've definitely created the platform, and I can see the ACN doing incredible things for the future as well. I would love to know a little bit more about you, Kylie, because obviously I know I've been banging on heaps about how much I'm so inspired by you and seeing you talk and your passion. How did you get into this role? And obviously your background is nursing, but what was your life before you entered the role of CEO of the ACN?
Yeah, I was in my early 20s, became a member of the, first of all, the College of Nursing and then the Royal College of Nursing. And I was very fortunate as an early career nurse, and I don't use the word junior. My language is very important to me, Jess, and I don't feed into rank and profile. So you'll hear me say early career rather than junior. But back in the day, I was treated like a junior and we were junior, but I've removed that from my language now. But I think I was very fortunate early in my career that there was really strict and strong directors of nursing and nursing leaders, and you were just expected to join your professional college. What I since came to learn is not everybody had that great role modelling and that understanding of a greater professional need to invest, particularly off the back of where we've come from as women and as nurses, and really as an emerging profession that mimics the pathology of oppressed groups. And so I've come to learn a lot since those days. So very good grounding in New South Wales. I grew up in Sydney's west. I went to a public school. I'm not, you know, there's people that come from the right side of town or the wealthy families or, you know, get to the private education. Everything I have, I've worked for. And I think that as I've become a CEO, that stood me in good stead because I understand what it is to work hard and to fight the system and to be validated and to be seen in any room or amongst people. And so I make it my business to make sure that everyone around me feels seen, feels heard, and that inclusion is very important. But really for me, nursing is something that, like many people at 18 when you leave school, you know, my mother heavily guided me to do nursing, and the love affair started, or, you know, it's an interesting relationship with nursing and I along the way. I've got a master's in management. I've always had a very strong business acumen and been able to see strategy, the strategic input, and to be able to look at a systems approach. I'm very much about systems. And I think this is where nursing is at a crossroads because we're just being crippled and stifled and really burnt out because of the system. And we keep fighting, you know, thinking it's us individually or teams, but it's really, you know, we need systems reform. So for me, yeah, very humble beginnings. I come from a loving family. You know, you set out and your life takes you in directions that you don't necessarily think of. So I had both my kids at 25 and by 30, I was a single mum. And I was very grateful to have my nursing and to be able to work and be able to refinance a home and look after my children and provide for us. So I understand education, and I understand being a nurse and being able to have a career and what that means when you're not so nuclear, or your dreams don't work out as you'd planned and you're the sole provider.
Yes, life does take us on some hurdles, doesn't it? It's it's great that you've been able to find, something that has all the things that you're passionate about, when you're saying like the management leadership aspect, and then you've got the nursing and passion all combined. And that's exactly what you see in watching you speak today, is you've got all those three just on fire as soon as you walk into the room, and you do have that presence about you, and you do make everyone feel so included and valued when you speak to them as well. So you're doing an incredible job. And I'm really looking forward to the National Nursing Forum in a couple of months in August in Adelaide.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Just one of the things that has been very important to me is that we understand our worth. So I'm very invested in women's rights, women's safety, women's equality. And if we can advance women in society, we'll always take care of children. And then we move to, I'm all about as a humanitarian equality. And I think that women in every culture, everywhere, or those who identify as women, really we've fought for thousands of years, for hundreds of years, for decades, and we've still got fight to do to achieve that. So it was very important to me when I started it as a CEO that I wanted nurses to know our worth, and I wanted us to be treated with the respect that I felt we deserved, and I wanted to command that. And so the National Nursing Forum, and I don't really ever talk about this 21, but my team know, it is I'm very proud, but I spend hours and hours painstakingly wondering and dreaming and imagining, because I've got quite a designing mind, of how we can make it even better. And Caroline Dorr, who's one of my national directors, will text at night and on weekends, and we can do this and we can do that, because you would know, having been at Darwin, there's an energy in the room that's palpable, and you can't buy that. That's the creation of like-minded people getting together and being spiritually and intellectually and emotionally and physically fulfilled, like whether it's on the dance floor or in the rooms listening to the national abstracts. It's something that is, for me, a moment and an opportunity where I can really stretch myself to think about how can I invest in, close to 1,000 people now, so that they go away knowing that they deserve to have the best of everything and to be treated well.
Absolutely. I definitely felt that vibe at the National Nursing Forum last year. So I was going to ask how many people. I felt like it was close to 1,000, but everyone that is attending these events, they're all there because they want to be there. And that's the difference, I think, with other events you can attend. Maybe it's a free event, or maybe it's just they're just trying to get their CPD points. But this is like a 3-day event where people want to be there. They want to be in those rooms and listening to those speakers. They want to network. It's all about networking as well. The amount of networking I did last year was incredible. I teamed up with some incredible people, made some lifelong friends, and the gala dinner, as you said, the dancing on the dance floor, it is so much fun. I love that vibe that everyone wants to be there and everyone wants to network and everyone wants to contribute in some way. And it really is like you walk out being like, that was an amazing event. So you guys
my
do so well.
personal goal is that you get enough I'm a very strong believer in energy. I feel the energy when I walk into the room. I connect with energy, as you know. I am a person who connects. I love people, so I connect at that heart level. And that's the difference, because I do a lot of keynote speeches at a lot of conferences, and some of them feel a bit stiff and clinical and all the formalities. But for me, it was really important to create a safe space and an environment that growing up, as I mentioned before, early in my career, I went to the Royal College of Nursing Australia conference every year. I worked hard to get my abstract presented, to be seen to be doing leading work, to be innovative, to be writing it up. And then that was my one conference a year where I could get somebody to look after my kids as a single mum, and I didn't feel guilty to go away and have a great time and got to see parts of the country. So it's in my heart how important the national conference, the signature event is. But then to actually have it where when I was growing up in nursing, you wouldn't approach the CEO of, the Royal College, or it was very hierarchical. It's just the way it was. And you didn't go up to a chief nurse of a state, and you didn't talk to the executives. You kind of knew who your people were, which made it fun because we had a lot of fun, got into a lot of trouble, and probably danced all night and partied, and, nobody was watching. But for me, and I don't mean bad trouble, I just mean, lots of great memories with people who are in lots of senior positions now. But you sort of stayed at your level, and that hierarchy never felt comfortable to me. Because first and foremost, we're all people and we've all joined a profession, and my value shouldn't be in my years of service or my position description or my rank and file. It really is in the essence of what I believe in, and I contribute however I can to make up the greater good of the nursing profession in Australia. So it was very important to me that I created a culture and an environment at the National Nursing Forum where people could come together and you would have the opportunity to meet people that you would not normally get to. And so that's when I introduced the speed leading and just how could I cross-pollinate and get everybody talking to everybody. And it's beautiful to watch now because it's bigger than me. I don't have to do anything now. Everybody's, connecting, and people tell me they now love to come the next year to see the people that they've connected with. And from early career emerging nurses to nurses who have retired, because they also told me they felt like they'd lost their connection and devalued because they left their job. But nursing's bigger than our jobs at any one point in time. And so to welcome people who are from retirees to undergraduates, new graduates, and every kind of spectrum in between, and all find the commonality is we have a love of what we do and a need to connect as people is where I find the vibrance. So I love that you've got a lot of people that you've connected with, and people will say the same about you, Jess. There will be people who love the fact that you were there, that they could meet.
I loved it so much. I honestly got to network with so many people, and it's true what you mean about the hierarchy as well. Like, people would be like, "Oh, you can't talk to the CEO of the company," but you can just walk through, and you are so humble, and you can just be like, "You can talk to me, you can get a photo with me, you can chat with me." Because if somebody, especially in a nursing career, if someone is influential to you, and you look at them as a mentor, especially in this healthcare profession, you're like, "Wow, it means so much to somebody just to be able to have a 2-minute conversation with them." And you've been able to create that with the National Nursing Forum, and being able to network and get each other on LinkedIn and message each other and connect. And it's so great. Honestly, I'm like, as you can tell, I'm very looking forward to this year's one. And I'm also moderating. I'm moderating this year in the sustainability section. So I get to listen to everybody all day, and I get to mingle, and it's just it's so great.
Yeah, I love that. And being a moderator is so important. I know in my career, all these things, I was one of those people that I'd love to take on everything because you learn time management. As a moderator, I'd always meet with everyone beforehand and say, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, like time management. But there's a presence and a profile in being able to introduce other people and then connect them to the audience. So you're going to be perfect at that, of course.
Yeah, I want to get them excited to come up. I know they're going to be sitting there so nervous because it's their time. They're about to present in front of all these people and be taped online, and I can see they're nervous.
Yes, and I love that about us and that's why I do get all of the sessions filmed, and I do want it so that we've got some content and we've got our intellect and our reputations and our presence. It's important that we get used to working to a camera and to an audience, and I think for too long that hasn't been available. So I love all of that uncomfortable because we will be socialised into this way of doing things so that the next generation will expect that, and that's how we advance the profession.
Absolutely. Get some incredible skills. Getting out of your comfort zone is honestly key because it grows you. It grows some incredible, you just learn so much about yourself when you get pushed out of your comfort zone, and you get extremely proud of yourself as well. So I'm a big believer in that. I would love to talk about the emerging leadership program that you run for your nurses as well. I actually met a couple. I just presented at QUT over the weekend, and I met some of your emerging nurse leaders there. One of them was in her first year, one of them was in her third year. They absolutely loved the program, but I was really busy. I didn't get to get a full rundown on it, but I'd love for you to chat to me about the program.
I'm really excited. I love this program's close to my heart. I love the emerging nurse leaders, and I love who they are and watching them develop and who they become. So when I started, there was a program that they selected 5 a year over 3 years, and it had been in place from the College of Nursing. And it was good, but if 1 or 2 people drop out, you're putting a lot of investment in only a couple of people. And so I started at the end of 2015. I felt that it wasn't where I would want it to be, even though it was a good base. So I stopped the program running in 2016, let the first lot run out, and then relaunched. And so this program's been running for 2017. It's competitive as it should be. We now have a minimum of 50 emerging nurse leaders that are RNs or undergraduate RNs, 10 emerging nurse leader positions for ENs or undergraduate student enrolled nurses. And we now quarantine spaces for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander nurses in all of those categories to be fast-tracked through their career. And for those, 50, it probably works out about 65 positions. There's around at least $500,000 investment that I make into this group of people. And it's a great investment from my perspective. So what we did was, you didn't start a program that went for 3 years or 5 years. It's over 5 years, and there's different stages of the program up to empowerment, but you have to reapply each year to get in. So there's no resting. There's no I'm in now and I can cruise. And we work from third year undergraduate or honours year to 6th year RN. So there's capacity to join at any stage, but for those, obviously some of the people that you spoke to, if they're really smart and getting in on year 1 or year 2, then you can have many years in this program. And so what this program does, and just to give you an idea, we get over 1,000 expressions of interest. For those 50 positions in the RN program, we are turning away excellent people, and I'm always very mindful of that. There's really good people missing out. So to get in, you got to be really high performing, high achieving, but also you can see something. So I'm expecting the emerging nurse leaders, as they grow through their career, to be clinical experts, national experts, to be the future managers, educators, academics, CEOs, director generals, ministers for health. Whether they stay in nursing or not, I expect them to understand how to have impact and influence wherever they are. And we fast-track their leadership. They get a very considered and intensive mentoring program with one of the fellows and leaders within the college. So we use the expertise in the college in a shared knowledge and shared learning, and people are incredibly generous. They get published opportunities that others would not get. And I would have burst to be an emerging nurse leader if even it was available. So a lot of what I do is what we would all love, is to feel like there's a place for us wherever we are along the way, whether you're an emerging nurse leader, whether you're a mid-career, a nurse executive. There's leadership should not be intrinsically tied to your position description. And I think that has been a flaw that I feel is too heavily relied upon. Now, management in the 21st century needs to understand how to develop leadership skills to manage change, but it shouldn't be inherently only considered. And we've all worked for managers and know people that lack leadership and probably even good management, in fact. And that's miserable, working with those types of people. But you don't need your position description to be a leader. So that formal power, formal positional power, but informal, influential power is also very important about how we develop someone so that wherever they are, they have the opportunity to know how to network, how to influence up, down, around, and to learn the skills that some of us learned through the school of hard knocks and had to acquire without any role modelling or very little mentoring. So I'm very proud of the emerging nurse leaders. They go through their own struggles, and it's not for the faint-hearted, but they really are. They give me immense confidence and reassuredness that the nursing profession is in brilliant hands. And I hope one of them goes on to take my job in years to come.
I love that. You're just creating the perfect one to take over you.
Correct.
So good. Well, I've actually had the honor of meeting 3 of your emerging nurse leaders, technically. I met one at the event last year and I met 2 just recently, and they definitely do have that spark about them. I know what you mean. They definitely have that special factor. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. X Factor is a perfect word for it. I think it's a terrific program, and I could already see, because I heard a little bit about it last year and I've been diving into it a little bit this year, and I was like, that is an incredible program. And I wish something like I knew about this years ago. It would have been amazing for sure.
Yes. You know what? You're exactly why our program is developed. And I mean, for you as a go-getter, for what you've achieved and accomplished, on your own and with your tenacity is exactly and I would say a lot of that reminds me of myself when I was younger, and that's exactly why the college should be putting a program out there for people like yourself and, my younger self and others, so that hunger and that passion and that vision can come together and have colleagues and find a home to grow.
I love that so much. Well, you've honestly... The ACN is going into some incredible directions. I can see it. It's growing like crazy. The events are getting bigger. You're coming up with all these beautiful, amazing new programs for us. You're constantly thinking of ways to make nursing better and putting that passion through. That's why I love you, Kylie.
That's so beautiful. Right back at you. Love you too.
I know you're a very busy woman, so I am going to let you go now, but I'm so grateful that you've come on the podcast today. I just really wanted to dive in about the ACN. I wanted to learn a bit more about you, more about the Emerging Leadership Program, and we've covered so much. I'm definitely going to jump online and have a look, and I'm sure everyone else will. If you just go on to, is it ACN. What's the website?
.edu.au.
Perfect. And you've got all your courses on there. You've got how to become a member. There's all the events, National Nursing Forum. Everyone should definitely buy a ticket and come to that in August, because that is worth coming for sure. So thank you so much, Kylie, for joining us on For the Health of It podcast.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. And I've got lots of exciting things. So rest up, Jess, before the NNF, because day and night I actually see that it's more than, a conference or a National Nursing Forum. I plan it now to be a festival. Oof. You need to rest beforehand, and you're going to need the weekend off afterwards, because we're going to go day and night.
Oh gosh, I'm even more excited now.
I love that.
Bring it on. Well, I'll definitely see you in August, but otherwise we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jess.
Bye. Okay.
Bye.